This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
No, I think Daddy's still Santa's here, but the
Welcome back. In this video, we look at some interesting words written by a Familyannihilator. We touch on the family dynamics, and we'll listen to a phone interview by one of Chris's longtime childhood friends, NK's spiritual beliefs, and a little warning to all of you Chriswatts fans who continue to write him letters in prison. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. If you'd be so kind to please like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Welcome to Wattsisland.
Thank you, Santa. Say bye, Bella. Say bye, Santa. Bye, Santa.
How does a person sum up his life in a paragraph? I'm only 34 years old, and just like my family, my life stopped at this age. I took my own life. I lost my family, my house, my job, my friends, everything that meant anything to me. I know now Shanann and I weren't meant for each other. I'm afraid if I tell you my thoughts, you might feel as if I'm blaming Shanann for what happened, but I'm not at all. We were just two completely different people, each with their own views and personality. Mostly opposites attract and do well. That wasn't the case with us. When I really think about it, I wasn't true to myself when I first met her. Shanann was so beautiful, I remember. I just couldn't relax and be myself around her. She was confident and a real presence. I'm quiet and I like the background. I tried, probably too hard, and always wanted to impress her, except on our first date. We were meeting at a theater. I had no idea which kind. I was thinking of a movie theater, so I dressed in sandals, shorts, and a t-shirt. I felt like an idiot when I showed up, and she was dressed to the nines, looking so beautiful. And here I was, dressed for a night of relaxation. I felt so bad and figured she wouldn't give me a second date, but it turned out to be a great evening, and it gave us something that we could always remember and laugh about. We dated for over a year, and then we got engaged. Words of a killer. How did Chriswatts go from a loving father and husband to one of the most despicable family annihilators? I know nothing will ever justify this. I know a lot of it comes from a manipulative mistress. Chris was a loving father, and that's a fact. We can confirm that in just about every Watts family video. His wife and kids were his life. I think it's safe to say that Chris and Nicole were seeing each other for longer than they wanted us to know. When I listened to Frank Sr. answering questions, I could hear the shock in his voice. He had no words. He spoke of Chris as if Chris could do no wrong.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm very sorry for your loss. These are terrible circumstances to have to meet you under. I'm sorry to have to do this, but
legal name is Franklin.
Franklin? You go by Frank, though?
Yes.
And how do you spell your last name, sir?
RZU.
So what can you tell me about Shanann and Chris and their relationship?
He was a great father.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't ask for a better father for him, for the kids. I mean, honestly, did everything for them. Played with them, bathed them. I couldn't ask for something better.
Okay.
Husband-wise, same way. Never seen any kind of problems with him. I was out here prior to the 6 weeks she was here. I don't know the exact date before they both went on the vacation with her Thrive company.
Mm-hmm.
And watched the kids. There was a little bit of difference in him, but I just took it as being a father. I mean, he was getting a little sterner with the girls. I mean, it was nothing, you know, he was always the quiet type with them.
Mm-hmm.
But he started getting a little sterner with them, and I just took it as being a father. Now he's getting a little bit tired of what they're doing, running them all over, so he's just getting stern with them. Never hit him that I know of.
He talked about how great of a father and husband Chris is or was. I could feel the sorrow, pain, and disappointment. Frank Rusick lost a big part of his family that day. Trying to make sense of this, or put something together, he was blindsided, just like the rest of us. I totally understand that things can get complicated in a marriage. Chriswatts explaining his side of things, why the marriage was failing, the obvious. The marriage was failing because Chris allowed a promiscuous homewrecker to get in his head and manipulate him. The worst thing that should have happened was Chris cheating on his wife. Things aren't working out, then you separate. 9 times out of 10, a man will snap out of it and begin to miss his wife and kids, and would probably reach out to his wife and ask to work things out, maybe get some counseling. The marriage was destined to fail, and it had nothing to do with anything Shanann did, and everything to do with the behavior of Cindy Watts and Nicole Kessinger. He let things go too far with Nicole, and he allowed his mother to dictate his marriage. Shanann and his daughters should have come first. Strange behavior. How about be happy for your grown-ass son and respect his decisions? Swallow your pride and show up at his wedding. The more I dive into this tragedy, the clearer things begin to get. The disconnect between Shanann and Cindy Watts was a heavy burden on their marriage. I arranged for both of our families to come down to the beach the weekend I proposed to her. We were so in love and so happy. She loved me and I loved her. Her family loved me. At one point, her mother told her she better hang on to me. We spent the next few months preparing for the wedding. Shanann had everything planned perfectly for the perfect day. Our wedding day was the happiest day of my life. When I think of good memories, I definitely think of that day. We had a beautiful wedding, and no bride could have been more gorgeous than Shanann. Life settled into a routine, and some days were mundane, like anyone else's life. We had the girls, and they were blessings to our lives. Everything revolved around them, and we were giving them the best life possible. When I think back of what I had, I still cannot believe I lost my whole family. A family I wanted my whole life. It's the most horrible thing I could ever do, and I'm still saying that it was not my mind or my hands that did this to them, but the hands and mind being controlled by something evil. I hope people will believe me. I don't know what to make of that. I heard Nicole was into some dark shit. I can't give him an out like that. Who knows, maybe something did take control of his soul. Maybe this whole thing runs deeper than any of us will ever comprehend. NK was a very spiritual person. She and her family are Wiccans. She read tarot and mixed crystals. She even got Chris to start eating clean. She would also travel to ceremonial places to do God knows what. People admitted to Nicole being an intoxicating individual. How the hell did she manage to coast through a triple homicide interview without detectives raising their voices to her? It was all handshakes and empathy for NK. Could she have really threw a hex on the Frederick Police Department and investigators? It really has my wheels turning, and it concerns me a little. I'm noticing little things happening in my home every time I research her. These things do exist, and I know that there's been a spiritual war happening for a very long time. But I'm a God-fearing man. I believe in the power of prayer, and I do feel protected. I wanted to really get a feel for who Chris Watts really is. Parents will lie for him. His co-workers didn't know him well enough, but when I found an interview with his childhood friend of 25 years, I figured that's something we can work with.
This is him.
Hi, Mark. My name is Matt Saylor. I'm an agent with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
Doing good, thanks. Hey, the reason I'm calling is we're doing some follow-up on the Watts case, and it's my understanding that you are a friend of theirs. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Would you have a couple minutes to speak to me about it?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, let me just get some identifying information from you.
Okay.
What is your last name?
My last name is Jamieson.
How do you spell it?
Jamieson.
Okay. And date of birth for you? Is this the best phone number to get a hold of you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how about an address for you? Okay. So how did you know Shanann and Chris?
Me and Chris have been best friends for almost 25, 30 years. So I've been in and out of their lives quite a bit over the years. I've met Shanann on multiple occasions. I've met their daughters multiple occasions, and me and Chris would stay in contact via phone call or a text message, or if we would go see each other.
Okay. So were you friends with Chris before he met Shanann?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess for 25 years you would be, huh?
Yeah.
You guys grew up together then?
We did.
Okay. So did you live in North Carolina then?
Yes.
Okay. What take you out?
I believe when, I'm in the Navy, so I got stationed out here in
okay.
South. Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you talked to Chris?
I talked to him, I think it was Tuesday before that Wednesday he had confessed. And it was just through a text message.
Okay.
But that was the last time I had contacted him.
Did you initiate that, or did he?
I initiated it.
Okay. And was there like a back and forth conversation, or how did that go?
No, it was just me basically saying, I hope he's okay, I hope the family's okay, that I knew he was busy and he's probably got a lot going on, and that if he needed to speak to me or if he needed anyone to talk to, he could let me know. And then he just reached back and said, thanks, man, and yeah, he's been busy.
All right.
And that was it.
Okay. So before that, when's the last time you had a conversation with him?
Before that, right off the top of my head, it was also a text message, and it was about, I want to say, a week and a half before this incident happened. Again, it was just through text message. And I was basically telling him, like, hey, man, reach out to me, like, talk to me. And he would text me back, but he never called me, or we never saw each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that unusual?
No, I just knew he was busy. I just knew he had a lot of things going on. Just because the things that were going on with the family at the time, I could tell, like, he was busy. And I knew. I didn't press him. I didn't put any pressure on him. I just letting him know I'm here to talk if you need to talk. And,
okay.
Yeah. And he said he would. He just didn't reach out.
Okay. And I'm just for my clarification, this is the text message before they went missing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of family things were going on?
I just knew that Shanann and his mom, Cindy, were fighting again, because Cindy had called me and told me that they had started fighting again, and I kind of was a little upset with Chris, because I texted Chris and just let him know, like, hey, man, this has got to stop. Like, I'm tired of hearing this. And he reached back to me and said he understood, he knew what was going on, and he kind of clued me in on him and Shanann are going to separate and get a divorce. And that's when I told him, like, well, I'm here if you need to talk, man. And he said he would reach out to me some more, but he never really did after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were Shanann and Cindy fighting about?
She said that, and this is coming from Cindy, that Cece had a food allergy to chocolate, and I guess Cece ate a whole bowl of Hershey Kisses, and Shanann came into the living room and was just yelling at Cindy and, telling her she's trying to kill her baby or something like that because of the food allergy. And Cindy had no idea, and she claimed she had no idea about it. And they had this huge argument, and she ended up kicking Shanann out of the house, telling her, to leave. And then shortly after that, Cindy called me crying and afraid, because she was afraid she had just lost Chris, that, Shanann was going to, turn Chris against her, like what has happened in the past. And
Okay.
so she had called me crying and just letting me know, and that's when I just text Chris like, hey man, like what's going on, dude? And yeah.
Okay. You said that in the past Shanann's turned Chris against Cindy. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so right around the time when they were engaged, I believe, Chris and Shanann were engaged, this huge fight between Cindy, Jamie, and Shanann was taking place, and they all felt like Shanann was trying to turn Chris against the family, and for a little bit there, Chris was on Shanann's side, not really defending his family. But I guess over the course of a year or two, they ended up patching things up, and they finally made amends, and they had back to a talking relationship again. And then this happened, and so it was we're basically going back to square one.
Gotcha. And so, could you tell was Chris taking Shanann's side again in the fight about the food allergy thing?
Yeah. So Cindy did say that Chris initially was on Shanann's side, like he was upset with his family, but then out of nowhere, Cindy did text me or call me again and say that Chris has decided to separate from Shanann.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, it was Chris, he was even telling me during the text messages that he had seen the true side of Shanann and that he is done. He doesn't want to be with her anymore. And so we're like, okay. And so I was like, hey, man, I'm here if you want to talk. I understand this is going to be a big process, so just let me know, man. And he said he would, but he never reached out.
Okay. Do you know what he meant by that when he said he saw the true side of Shanann?
I didn't ask because I didn't feel like it was my position to dig, but I had assumed that he had seen, because for years his family has always assumed that Shanann has been pretty shady. And I never really saw it, but they all had reason to believe that she was very, very, there was something about her. And Chris said he had finally seen whatever his family had seen. He had finally seen that side of her. And yeah.
Do you know what it was that the family was seeing in her?
She was just, this is what they were telling me, is that she was very shady. She had a dark past, I don't know, sleeping with her old boss, and even while she was seeing Chris, and money issues with her boss. She was just very conniving, and that was what they were telling me. Now, when I saw Shanann, I didn't see any of that. She was always very pleasant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never had any issues with Shanann?
No, I mean, I never saw that side. I didn't really trust her just because of a lot of things that were being said.
Right.
Yeah, but I never actually physically saw anything.
Okay. Sorry, my pen just died. I had to find another one. So he never really gave specifics about what he saw or the reason he was wanting to separate?
He did not. I was basically letting him know about the conversation that I had with his mother, just cluing him in on what his mom was saying about Shanann, and he was not really confirming it, but confirming it that, yeah, I've seen that part of Shanann, but he never said exactly what he saw. He just said, I've seen that side of her, I've seen the true side of her, and I'm done.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
In your conversations with Chris recently, have you noticed any change in him?
No, just in his eyes, I could tell he looked stressed. He looked wore out. But he's always been Chris. He's never been anything but that. Like, no signs of a dark side to him or anything. Chris has always been a nice guy. Always been a good guy. He's been a great friend.
Okay.
Even when I saw them in San Diego, Chris was still Chris. Like, he was your average, typical Chris.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
I believe that was in June, or no, not June, excuse me, July. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they came down for a trip, for a company trip. And
okay.
they only stayed for like a weekend, but I went down to see them one day.
Okay. Are you pretty close to San Diego?
I am.
Okay. I've never heard 29
about
Palms.
It's in the middle of the desert and it sucks, but
oh, really?
I'm about 3 hours. Yeah, I'm about 3 hours from San Diego.
Oh, okay. So you're in the Navy in the middle of a desert?
Yeah, I'm a Navy corpsman, so we're stationed with the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
Anytime we do their medical, so we have to. We do their medical for them. But so anytime the Marines, wherever the Marines go, we go.
Gotcha.
And they give me orders out here to the other.
Okay. So what was your opinion of Shanann then?
Initially, I liked her. I remember when Chris first met her, he was so excited about it, and I was excited for him. But over the years, like I said, the family had really, Chris's family had really had an issue with her, and she had an equal issue with his family, and it's just kind of, I started to get the uneasy feeling that they were getting. But again, like I never really saw anything that they were seeing because I think they were more close to her than I was. I was just Chris's friend, and they're the family. They're on that constant form of contact. But for me, every time I was there, I went to their house, or they would come see me, or we would text or talk. Like they were always good. They always seemed fine. And Shanann never really exhibited anything that they were claiming, but there was always, after a while, there was that uneasy feeling about her, like something has to be there if everyone's got such a problem with her.
Okay, but you never saw anything yourself?
But I never actually saw it.
Okay. Did Chris ever tell you about any of those things that he also saw in her that her family was talking about?
He did not.
Okay.
And again, I didn't press because I didn't want to dig into his personal life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously you liked Chris because you were friends with him for 25 years, but what can you tell me about him?
Chris, he has always been a quiet guy. He only opens up to the people that he's comfortable with. He's the type of guy that would do anything for you. He'd bend over backwards for you, and he's been there for me multiple times when I went through issues with relationships or whatever. Like Chris he's been a brother to me, big time, and I still love him as a brother. Like, this all comes as a shock, but still, like, Chris is a good guy, and the way the media is painting him out to be this, that's not Chris at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he loved his daughters very, very much.
Did you ever know him to have a temper?
I have never seen a mean side to Chris ever.
Okay.
He's much like his mother. His mother's very kind-hearted and sweethearted, and Chris is relatively the same way.
So obviously he would come to you and talk to you when he was having issues in his life. What other ways did he have to deal with conflict or issues in his life?
For these past couple of years, him and I haven't really talked much. I would say like the past 3 or 4 years. But if he was truly going through something serious, he definitely would have reached out to me. But I know he also had support wherever he was in Colorado. There was also his friend base that he had in Colorado that I'm sure he probably reached out to them more than he did with me. But but ultimately his whole, to my understanding, his whole routine was basically just go to work and take care of the girls.
Okay. Do you know who his friends are here in Colorado?
I do not.
Okay.
I've never met any of them.
Okay. How about any other friends of his that you know of that we could talk to?
Off the top of my head, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of the people he knew, Shanann had known.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said that a lot of the people that Chris knew, Shanann knew. They were Shanann's friends.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you think we should know about either Chris or Shanann or their relationship or the girls or anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Any questions that I haven't asked that you think we should be asking, or anybody else that you think we should be talking to?
I'm sure you guys have already reached out to his family or his sister. And
Yeah, we're in.
Many things made my life a lot less than perfect. At least, I thought. Although, if you were to ask me now, I might have a different story about that. Shanann had created a life for us that looked on the outside to be perfect. It almost was, except for me. I needed to rise to the occasion and be a man, and to help my wife see she could not control everything and everyone around her. If she couldn't come to terms with that, then we split. I was not able to confront the situation, though, as I could not go to Shanann and tell her my feelings. Shanann can't catch a break. Christopher has already tried to blame Shanann for the girls, so in my opinion his words mean nothing. Again, he tries to blame his victim for what he alone has done. Cheryln Cadle.I's book, Letters from Christopher, is a book about Chriswatts' excuses for what happened. I do find it interesting, though. She went and visited Chris and got letters from him. I wanted to get a feel of the real Chriswatts. Now, that in no way means that I believe what he has to say. He has been very manipulative, and his truth has been up and down. It's changed a few times. He's having a hard time with it. Or maybe he's accepted his future at the Dodgecorrectionalinstitution. He has very few friends in there. I'm guessing his only friends are those at church. I do not miss being there. I know exactly where he is. It's depressing. It's got to be even worse for a baby. I hear Chris is having a hard time with the idea of never getting released from prison. Watching inmates come and go has got to be tough. Like I said before, I wish Chris had experienced incarceration. It would have deterred him from going this route. Chris looks to religion for comfort. His evil deeds are of the worst kind. He attends Bible study every chance he gets, and even leads prayer. He's trying very hard not to free himself. You know what I mean. A prayer written by Chriswatts. My past is a blueprint and the devil the architect, while I watch his fallen ones build stone upon stone every day. I see the walls as insurmountable, a barrier that blocks me from enjoying your love, your peace, and your joy. O Lord, you are my master builder. Help me walk around these walls, sound the trumpet, and shout that they may come crashing down like the walls of Jericho. The Lord is a forgiving one. Only Chris will ever know if God has forgiven him. As hard as it is for me to even listen to what this man has to say after what he did to his wife and kids, whether we like it or not, we have to explore all aspects, even if we do not agree with the explanation or outlook. The Ruziks spared his life because they are a loving, caring family. They understood how much their daughter loved Chris. They understood Shanann wouldn't want that for Chris. They know her heart better than anyone else. Shanann never put up a fight when Chris was squeezing the life out of her. And it's because she thought he would let go of her neck at some point. She wanted to trust Chris so bad, all the way till the very end. What a shame. And now Chris is looking for empathy. And he's getting it from some lonely-ass women, willing to overlook his actions and be his pen pal. In one of Chris's letters, a letter he received when he was still in the county jail, dated August 21st of 2018. Dear Chris, you don't know me, but I think you might want to. My name is Tammy and I'm from Ohio. I'm 36, never married, was close one time but my career got in the way. No kids, die-hard OSU fan, alumni too. Sorry, but I really don't like the Steelers. I will try not to hold that against you. Anyways, I'll keep this short because I'm not sure this will even get to you. I just wanted to reach out and be your friend. If you'd like someone who knows nothing about you, therefore will not judge you based on your current situation. Chris gets many letters like this. I'm sure it helps him get through his sentence. Some women even send provocative photos. These women don't realize the dangers in doing something like this. They only fantasize in the possibility of getting a return letter from Chriswatts in hopes to develop some sort of relationship with him. Hey, I get it, you're attracted to him, and you're into baby girls. But that's not what I'm talking about, because Chriswatts is never getting out of prison. The danger comes with your home address and personal information potentially being stolen or even sold to other inmates. In prison, inmates actually deal and gamble in names and addresses. Some inmates will go into their cellmate's address book and steal numbers and addresses. In prison, everything is worth something. It's lonely in there, especially if an inmate has no one on the outside. You, your aunt, your daughter, will get a letter from one of these inmates if they get their hands on your address. They try to extort people. So the next time you decide to write an inmate, use a P.O. box or really ask yourself, is writing someone you don't even know worth the risk of my information getting into the wrong hands? There are some very bad people on the inside that will get out one day. Don't put yourself or your family at risk. It's not worth it. Some inmates are career criminals, always looking for their next come-up or victims. These guys have had a lot of time to think of what to say to you when they show up at your door one day.